So, Geraldo, I realize the secret to your long-term success is having only one name. So I'm going to lose my last name, but I need to come up with the right first name. Can I run some by you?
Shoot.
All right. How about Gregatron?
No.
How about Gregashian?
No.
How about Gregaldo?
No.
Gregier?
No.
LLG Force?
No.
How about this? Greg and Kelly?
No.
How about Greg O'Reilly?
No.
How about Gosh Golly Double G?
No.
G-Dog?
No.
Gutty?
No.
Gogurt?
No.
Grape Nuts?
No.
How about Good and Plenty?
Now you're just naming food.
I guess you're right. Should I grow a mustache?
Why don't you just get the out of here?
All right, I guess I'll go. Thanks, Geraldo. Good seeing you.
He's in trouble.
Because he sounds crazy.
I'm not that impressed. I don't feel that there's a vision.
But it's embarrassing to me.
It doesn't make sense and it doesn't look like it would fly. But you never know.
Hi, I'm Greg Gutfeld. Thank you for not watching Lifetime. It's all repeats anyway. Tonight on the show, her grande mouth, her grande hatred for America and donuts. Question, is life in prison too grande for Ariana Grande? The Nobel-winning scientist publicly shamed out of his job after his jokes were taken out of context. Guess we won't get that cure for cancer. But who needs it? I'd rather die of melanoma than leave one person offended. But first, Donald Trump and Republicans. Is it a marriage made in heaven, a divorce made in hell, or a love triangle flourishing in the back room of a Pittsburgh convenience store? Let's discuss. Joining me tonight, he's so bright the sun is told not to stare directly at him. It's National Review columnist Tom Rogan. Well, she's back on the couch because Applebee's fired her for stealing cheesy bread. It's Joanne Nosuchinsky. And 4 out of 5 feminists consider him evil. The 5th one is cooking him dinner in a velvet thong. Sit down. Gavin McInnes, writer for TalkingMag.com and StreetCarnage.com. But first, I have a theory. So what's happening to the Republican Party? Well, mommy and daddy are fighting. Worse, they're doing it in public in front of the kids like a pair of hair-pulling drunks in a vacant lot. And the Dems are lapping it up like gluten-free kale juice.
I watch Jeb Bush. He's a joke on immigration.
Charles Krauthammer, who's called you a rodeo clown.
Well, Charles Krauthammer is a totally overrated person who really dislikes me.
Well, he's repeating himself. You know, I'm like Jeb on this. I'm done.
To make these extraordinarily ugly kind of comments is not reflective of the Republican Party.
Hillary Clinton is trying to paint all Republicans with Mr. Trump's response.
I think he said something that has brought people who are frustrated about our immigration system to life, but he also said it in a way that's going to kill my party.
So instead of solidifying a unified front, the Republicans now have an ugly tiff that exposes their two weaknesses. They're deathly worried of losing more of the Hispanic vote, and they're scared to tick off the populists among us. It's the kind of rift Hillary could sneak through to win. Do we really want that? Her laugh is a national treasure. But the only thing more comical than this mess are the lemmings marching to dump Trump. The latest to sever ties with Trump? The sky. Yep, the FAA is renaming 3 navigation coordination points above Palm Beach International Airport that were once named in honor of the man. The airport departure routes were Donald without an A, Trump without a U, and you're fired without an E. So not only can't these freaks spell, an FAA flack now says they prefer non-controversial names. Here are my suggestions. You suck. You are wimps. Super jerk faces. So what's next? Guys can't be named Donald, Don, or Donnie anymore? Should Donald Duck be removed from Disneyland? No more trumpet playing and no more pinochle playing since it contains a trump card? And what of the trumpeter Swan? 'Tis a truly foul name for a foul game. Fire. We have to ban fire too closely associated with you're fired. See, the rabble love collecting symbolic scalps more than solving actual problems. Forget sanctuary cities or murderous illegals. This is what America does best. Phony action disguised as brave stances. Our collective self-loathing leads to a retreat from actual threats. So we find fake justice and pointless outrage. It's why we have sanctuary cities for lawbreakers and blame a flag for murder.
Period.
Tom, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Good to
Enjoy
meet
you on the McLaughlin group. I watch it every Sunday
Appreciate
when
it.
I wake up in my shorty robe.
Since 1982, I'm the youngest panelist by about 46 years.
I know.
It's a great
true.
show. And
You're
I'm
the
honored
only
to be
one
there.
without a drip. Tom, all right. Looking at the RNC, if you were the head of the RNC, how would you handle Trump? Would you try to kind of work him into the group or push him out?
I think there's no question that they actually have to allow him a platform to be challenged on, because the simple fact is the population, the populist sort of narrative that he's been able to build, the appeal that he's getting that's reflected in the polling data is something that is unavoidable. And if they're going to try and push him and alienate him, that won't address those issues. It makes it more likely he runs on a third-party ticket. But you put him up on the platform, it allows you to do two things. It says, look, we have a broad party. A lot of candidates don't agree with what he's saying in terms of immigration. And number two, there are alternatives to what he is saying. And I think that punctures some of the Democratic attack ads that are now coming out and will continue to grow unless they address this issue.
Yeah, because that's the thing that scares me, Gavin. I'm concerned when your adversaries actually are delighted by your candidate. When they see Donald, they go, please, more Donald. That's why Jon Stewart was overjoyed when he decided to run.
Yeah, but they're smug, spoiled brats who think that just because someone has bravado and isn't ashamed of himself, he must be a buffoon. And that's why everyone likes Trump so much, is because he's proud to be American. He's sick of pretending that illegals are wonderful people. And that's a good thing, because it's sort of rattling, you know, modern America and the non-voters out to the polls. Now, don't be scared. He's not going to actually become the president. He's a snowplow that's paving the way, and then at the last second, he moves out, and boom, Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz.
President of the United States.
Does Donald Trump know he's doing this?
Logic will dictate. I mean, he can pretend that he's going to be the guy, the high school president who shows up with the sunglasses and the two babes, and we all elect him just because it's cool. But he's not that. America's never going to do that. So eventually the logic will prevail, and they'll go, all right, Don, party's over. And he'll go, what? Let go of me. Okay.
Wow, that's an intriguing and totally unrealistic prediction. Joanne, as a future Trump wife, I see probably in about 2030, you have a biased opinion, I would assume.
Yes. Yes. Go Trump.
Yes.
No, I think I'm kind of with the rest of America when I believe that the media is turning this presidential race into the amazing race. It's turning into a reality TV show ultimately. And every reality TV show needs their villain. And the audience loves the villain. As you'll see with the polling, you know, he's doing very well. People like it. It's for ratings, right? But ultimately, the villain never wins. The villain, like you said, gets very far, but doesn't. Instead, the audience wants to see whoever has the best branding, like Jeb Bush, win, or the underdog, like a Marco Rubio.
Here's the thing that bugs me, and I know Donald Trump. I consider him a friend. He takes offense against criticism on the basis of personal relationships. So when somebody criticizes him, he takes it personally and he rips you apart. Whether you're Jonah Goldberg or Charles Krauthammer or anybody, and they're all on the same team. How can that be helpful?
No, I mean, look, Trump enjoys it. He revels in it. I think you're right about that. And that's how you challenge him, right? You say, actually, on the debate platform, well, no, you say that you're about immigration reform, but get Mexico to build a wall, and if they don't, we're going to put tariffs on. I say, well, what would that do for lower-income Americans who rely upon those products and exports? Get into the economic argument, because ultimately, as much as people enjoy the populist debate and the appeal of it, elections are serious business. And I think especially the great advantage that actually Republicans have in being able to counterbalance some of that is that whatever Republicans think about Donald Trump, they certainly do not want Hillary Clinton to be the president of the United States.
No, I don't like what you're saying. Donald Trump put Mexico at the forefront of this election, whereas other elections have been, we wasted our time with gay marriage and irrelevant stuff like that. Now that immigration is at the front, the GOP can say, we don't want Jeb Rubio, a.k.a. Mexico, to be the president. We want it to be anti-immigration. We want Cruz.
But see, the point is, though, the sanctuary city debate, for example, is being lost now because the Trump narrative of this stupid, as I see it, kind of stupid comments like build a wall, get Mexico to build, bomb the oil fields. This is not sensible policy. You can make the Republican argument on sanctuary cities now because of what's happening in places like San Francisco, the stats about ICE not being able to get people, but I think it just allows the Democrats to say, look, all Republicans are just cartoonish like Trump, reveling in this sort of apocalyptic adventure that he has.
This is the two sides of the argument. Did Trump help create this debate, or is he hurting the debate on the...
No one knew what sanctuary cities were last year.
I did.
Okay.
I didn't.
It's your job.
Yes.
You go outside and say, what's a sanctuary city? Now people are going, wait a minute, there's little fifth columns of Mexico all over the South. In City Hall, they speak Spanish. What the hell's going on? I was never told about this. Thank you, Don.
Aren't you Scottish?
Yes. Genetically.
Genetically. You were born, you're an immigrant.
I was born in England. My parents are Scottish, if you must know.
Yes.
And I don't talk about it every 2 minutes like Rubio does. I'm assimilated.
You are.
I don't even say a boot anymore.
That's good. I've noticed. I know. But you still wear the tartan tie, which I find deeply offensive. We're getting rid of the Confederate flag. Tartan is next. All right, I want to move on to this story.
We were oppressed by the English for 700 bloody years.
Talk to him. He's British.
You oppressed us for 700
My
bloody
grandfather
years.
was a Scottish RAF officer, so I'm in the no man's land. Irish, Catholic, American, British Protestant.
Wow, I think I've created a bit of a rift. All right, MTV, the network for couch surfers with nipple rings, is promoting a new documentary called White People, saying the film challenges whiteness and addresses racial bias through, quote, honest dialogue. Will it be fair? Well, as a black lesbian, I hope so. Roll it, Dexter.
You say the wrong thing, then suddenly you are a racist.
I'm trying to be careful here.
I don't want to offend people. I feel like you guys are attacking me now.
If I bring up any sort of race issue with my parents, they immediately assume that I'm demonizing them.
Now, I can't tell if the documentary is fair or not based on that clip, but that hasn't stopped me before. The documentarian Jose Antonio Vargas is an illegal immigrant, which makes him an expert on whites. All right, so I was talking about self-loathing at the top of the show. Is MTV, Joanne, feeding into it? By the way, did you audition for this show? I know you tried 16 and Pregnant.
No, I mean, I was a little too real for them and a little too not pregnant for that show, unfortunately. I mean, this is MTV. Can you get more white than MTV? I'm pretty sure that most of their viewers, the majority, are white. And this illegal immigrant who is hosting the show needs to check his American privilege, okay? Because the fact that you are doing a documentary on something as frivolous as white privilege when he could be doing it on disadvantaged third world children or immigrants, his family back home. He could be doing it on that, but he's not. It's absurd.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah?
I think I hate this. I tell you one thing that I find very tedious, and it's a big issue in Washington, is this narrative is very political correctness, white privilege. Torre, MSNBC did a piece about how Holocaust survivors, actually hit him on it on NRO, but about Holocaust survivors survived because they were white.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's so insipid and boring and tedious.
It passes for intellectual thought.
Right, exactly.
And also, but I predict, Gavin, I haven't seen this, but the white subjects will fall prey to the Stockholm Syndrome and confess their evilness.
Yeah, and they should.
Yes.
They should be ashamed of cement, electricity, television, buildings, cars, cleaner air, cleaner water, all the horrible ending slavery, all the horrible things white people have done. They should be ashamed of themselves.
That's a great point. Let's end on that note. I want to bring in our liberal panel. Liberal panel, I'm sure you're happy that there's a show devoted to white people and how bad they are.
Greg, I'm just happy white people are finally being represented on MTV.
Really?
It's been a long struggle for us, but finally we've made it.
Yes, that's true. Any thoughts on Donald Trump?
I think he's a great man, and I support him 100%. If anyone understands illegal immigration, it's a man who employs hundreds of them.
Well, he claims he doesn't.
I'm gonna take him at his word, because again, everyone watching, vote for him.
Yes.
He should be President Trump.
There you go. I'm glad you agree with Gavin. All right. Up next, the joke that killed a scientist's career. But first, let's check in with our studio audience. Everybody, thanks for being here. I want a quick show of hands. How many of you would like to join me after the show for a cocktail in my new hot tub? Looks like it's going to be a tight fit. The summer of shame has claimed many victims. the Confederate flag, Donald Trump's businesses, the 10 Commandments, my Fat Albert DVDs, and now Nobel Prize-winning scientist Sir Tim Hunt. Sir Hunt studies the human cells. He's worked on cancer studies, but last month he had to resign from his university position after someone tweeted a part of a speech that Hunt had made, and it made it look like he was a sexist pig, instead of tweeting the full context of the quote. So the outrage machine did its thing, and Dr. Hunt had to go. So in short, if we're going to advance science, we can't do it with one of the field's most brilliant minds, because mob mentality is king. So there's a question. Are you okay with this? Shunning great minds to appease fragile feelings? Time to ask the Social Justice League. I'm joined by our own op-ed Katherine Timpf and the always socially correct Joanne Nosuchinsky and the always sensitive Gavin McInnes. All right, I just want to read, Katherine. They tweeted the partial quote, which is the scientist said, "Let me tell you about my trouble with girls. 3 things happen when they're in the lab. They fall in love with them, they fall in love with you, and then if you criticize them, they cry." So that was out there. That got him in trouble. What they left out was, "Now, seriously." So to point out that he was kidding. I'm impressed by the economic development of Korea, and scientists, women scientists played, without doubt, an important role in it. Science needs women, and you should do science despite all the obstacles and despite monsters like me. So he's actually pointing out the sexism in men. But does that matter? Should he lose his career?
Well, you know, he did some kind of important things like research that has advanced curing cancer. But if anybody ever says, you know, people are overreacting when they say PC police is going too far, we need to throw this at them.
Yeah.
Because if anyone have ever asked me, would you rather have somebody do more research for curing cancer or have them be politically correct? Either you can get more cancer research done, but he can't get away with telling a sexist joke. I would think that that was not even a relevant question at all. But
I don't know, Joanne, couldn't a sexist joke be as deadly as cancer?
I mean, it could be.
It could hurt your feelings and drive you to self-mutilation.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And then those awful negative feelings can cause stress, and I think that can cause cancer.
Well, no, stress.
So he could be causing more cancer than he is curing.
That's true.
Cancer.
I think you stumbled onto the exact reason why he should be fired.
But in all seriousness, Greg, really brilliant people are really awful in social situations.
Yes.
Especially scientists.
Yeah, they don't have
Asperger's.
to be. I would rather them be smart in their fields than smart, like, telling a joke. They're awful at it. And so, you know, give them a pass.
That's why I shy away from doctors with bedside manners. I want a complete...
You want a slightly awful one.
You're not autistic enough.
Yeah, I want an a-hole. I want a guy shouting at me and not afraid to tell me what those warts really are. Gavin, you know what's always the case?
What?
People seeking the scalps are never as accomplished as their victims. I've never seen that.
And the scalps are never scalpy enough.
Yes.
Like they just, what happens is the demand for this sexism and racism and ageism and whatever is so huge, and the supply is so limited that the second they get even the inkling of a baton, they just go, got it, let's go!
Yes.
And tear off, and you're like, that's not a baton, that's dynamite!
Yes. Yeah. But then when you think about it, his name is Sir Tim Hunt. By being called a sir, he's already sexist. So let's go to our liberal panel. I bet you love the fact that they got rid of this white male from the research of cancer, and he's now unemployed.
I oppose sexist scientists. Yes, Greg. I oppose Christian scientists, too.
Really?
I oppose sexism. Would you like it if all I did was stand up here and talk about your petite buttocks all show long?
I actually would not mind it.
You've got nice meatball-like buttocks.
Well, why, thank you.
Anyway, look, there are some positive things about mobs, Greg. I just want to bring that up.
Okay.
Another word for mob?
What?
Parade.
That's true.
Parades are nice. Mobs are nice.
You know what? That is a perfect transition for the next story. We now pause for...
Moment of intolerance.
I hate parades, but I love winners, especially badass women who win with authority, which is why I saluted the parade that celebrated the U.S. women's soccer team. See, I live in a city that holds a parade every damn weekend celebrating any micro-identity you can think of, not because of some big achievement, but just because it's their day. I hate those parades. Question, should parades only be held for people who achieve something rather than being something. In my mind, you should never be proud of who you are, only grateful to be alive. A parade should only be for doing, not breathing. Meaning athletes, the military, astronauts, and of course talk show hosts with great pecs. They should have parades.
Apology.
I apologize to all the parading micro groups. If I offended them in any way, I was woefully ignorant of your emotional well-being, and I will try harder in the future to curb my white privilege. Joanne, in the green room, you said these women don't deserve a parade because, quote, it's just soccer. Get married, why don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I did say that.
Yes.
But it was after I took the candy that Gavin offered me. I was feeling a little off. I hate parades as well. I can't get anywhere. You can't cross an avenue. You have to walk down and around. You know who else doesn't like parades? Law enforcement. We're constantly on terror alert here in New York City. Let's give them more jobs to do during this time. And also, awful for the environment. There's littering and then carbon emissions because of all those floats. What's up with that?
That is true. What is up with that? I don't know. I always wanted to respond.
We need to do a segment called "What's Up with That?"
I know. I think it's great. All right, Gavin. I think parades are great if you reward achievement. What's wrong with that?
I gotta say, this is a first.
What?
I always have my idea ready, and my idea for this was that it's patronizing, you know, to fight the patriarchy. We're giving them this parade. Oh, good work, girls. You played soccer. But you're right. There's the Armenian parade, the Mondays parade, the hairdresser parade. It's not easy winning a soccer match.
It's true.
You changed my mind.
Oh, I did.
Incredibly rare.
That makes me feel good about myself. I think that when we refuse to differentiate between being and doing, Katherine, we create a weird, aimless generation, a class of oddballs who feel that you should be famous just for being you. And that's what's causing all our problems in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, people desperately try to think of a thing that makes them interesting so they can have one of the parades to go to, because nobody really likes parades unless it's about you, right?
Right, yes.
You know, it's kind of, I mean, I guess people kind of convince themselves they like parades.
Yeah. I always like it when people say, you know, they went to a parade and didn't realize what the parade was.
Yeah.
And then they're shocked when they see men without pants dancing.
And 8-year-olds twerking.
Yes.
And they go, oh, this are a bunch of people who are proud to be born that way.
Yes.
That's like being proud of being an albino.
I congratulate the women's soccer team. I actually enjoy women's soccer. Yeah, it's better than male soccer. 90% of male soccer are guys writhing on the ground pretending to be injured. The women, they get hit in the face, they keep playing.
Soccer in general, I think, is another thing people convince themselves they like.
Yeah, maybe so. A lot like kale. Okay. Up next, my political debate with TV's Kennedy. Spoiler alert, I win. But first, I love tennis, and the Wimbledon final was held Saturday. But as usual, many of the ladies were asked this week by the sexist media about all the grunting that happens during matches. But I didn't think it was bad at all. You tell me. I barely noticed, Katherine.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, it could be the dress. Up next, my political debate with TV's Kennedy. Spoiler alert, I win. It's time for tonight's debate, or what we like to call...
You're about to lose.
Yes, it's a debate with a preordained winner, me, because why lie to the viewer? This is my show. If there's a debate, I'm going to win it, even if I'm wrong, because it's my show. Tonight's topic, too many candidates in the GOP field. Look at them all. It's bigger and scarier than the Duggars. I say the candidate tsunami is going to hurt the Republican Party's chance of winning in 2016. A chaotic pile of mid-level candidates mixing with real ones, that dilutes the brand. Why can't we have a coronation like the Democrats always do? It works for them. They find the candidate most likely to win, and then they get behind him early and push him. Instead, the Republicans fill up a bus and call it progress. It's like the Bachelorette for dumpy people. But my opponent, Kennedy, she disagrees. She's the host of a show Named after her, Kennedy. That's a little vain. On the Fox Business Network. She's a great person, which makes me sad that I'm going to have to crush her like a bug. Kennedy.
Yes.
I would argue that when you have all these candidates,
Sure.
what are there now, 16 of them?
At least.
It elevates Hillary's stature. She's one, they are many. They're like gremlins. She's Godzilla.
Yeah, and she's been spraying them with water, and they're multiplying at night.
Yes.
Now, I think this is fantastic because I actually, I'm an independent, and I love a little bit of political chaos. Now, if I were a Republican, the way I would be looking at this is go ahead and make the Franken-Publican. What you're able to do is take the best parts of each candidate, and because, you know, there are more than, say, 4 or 6, you can really, I mean, they call it best practices
right.
in TV and in the corporate world, but in politics, it's just emotional thievery. So you can take the very best parts of each person's platform and ultimately make them your own.
All right, so that would be like me going into Baskins and Robbins and saying, I'm going to take some bubblegum toffee and I'm going to take some strawberry fudge ripple and I'm going to put it in a big thing and then I'm going to vomit because it tastes terrible.
Or it could be like you making barbecue sauce. I mean, like, you know what, girl? I'm going to use a little bit of honey, some mustard powder, and, oh, you know what? Some apple cider vinegar for a little bit of what? Why wouldn't I?
It's not that way at all, Kennedy.
It certainly isn't like a Benny Hill sketch. And that's how we need it to be. Naked people running through the fields, tearing off each other's clothes, eating raw turkey legs, blood on their faces.
I would support that, but that's not part of this debate, by the way, that I am winning.
Clearly.
When you talk to people, and I do, I go out there, much like Bill O'Reilly, I go out there and I talk to real people every day. They want fewer choices. They don't want 14. They just want, like, you know when you try to get a plan, a phone plan, your eyes glaze over when they give you options.
Oh, yeah, you know where else they don't have options? North Korea.
Yes!
Yeah, and that's working out real great for them. People in North Korea, on average, are 4 inches taller than you, which means they are very, very wee. They're teeny tiny little people that you just throw over your shoulder and burp like crazy.
See, I know I'm winning this debate when you have to go after my height, Kennedy, because I know that we're about the same height.
That's so not true.
Yes, but see, the TV public doesn't know.
No, we have the same height torso.
That's true. Our torsos are exact. All right, I would argue, and I think that you cannot disagree with me, that Hillary, if she wanted to plan an election cycle, this was what she would do. She'd say, I want Donald Trump to get in. I want obscure governors that just came in recently.
Jim Gilmore.
Yes, Jim Gilmore. I guess he was the dad in the Gilmore Girls.
He was.
Yes. That would be the best challenge for her because she doesn't have to answer them. She's above them. Again, she is Snow White, and they are the 17 dwarfs.
Okay, but here's the thing with her. As she is atrophying, as she's on her royal highnessty. You know, all she's doing is sitting around. We know that she's a terrible campaigner. She can't answer basic softballs that are thrown at her by media plants. But even with that, even with a horrible CNN interview, you have a frontrunner like Jeb Bush who still says stupid things. He's not taking my advice. He's not taking the Franken-Publican route and, you know, taking the best aspects from Chris Christie, which I don't think there are very many, and Rand Paul and Senator Cruz and all these other people who are in the race.
Rand Paul's perm.
Why wouldn't you use that?
Yes, exactly. It's always wet. How do you always have a wet perm? It's like he just got out of that steam.
Have you not seen Coming to America?
Yes, but it's unnerving to me. I don't know. I don't like your theories. I think they are destructive, and I think you're wrong.
Well, no, here's what you do, and this is not the first time this has been put forward. You have to have a round-robin tournament. You have to have something where half of the field is eliminated immediately and just have several quick, brutal cuts until you're down to 4. But the problem is the Republican Party is not bold enough to have that sort of blood sport. If they were, I think people would be applauding them like they are Donald Trump's applause line.
Well, I'll give you that last word because I'm confident that I won anyway. That debate is over, and I am the victor once again. And speaking of too many candidates, it's time for our series that takes a look at some of the tougher questions facing the presidential hopefuls on the campaign trail 2016. Roll tape rollers.
Coming up this week on the campaign trail 2016, Hillary Clinton returns to Arkansas. But what did her husband say to her after reading Holly Madison's new book, Down the Rabbit Hole?
He says to me, I had no idea how bad it was.
Plus, can Chris Christie abstain from playing Angry Birds while at work? Or did his iPhone stop working long ago?
You're not going to have to wonder,
whether I can do it or not. It doesn't even try to pretend to work anymore.
And finally, Bobby Jindal heads to Iowa. But does he think the next president should be able to eat 100 White Castle burgers in one sitting?
It's time to say what everybody is already thinking. That's not even half of what we should expect from our next president. May God bless the United States of America.
Till next week on the Campaign Trail 2016.
So earlier this week, pop superstar and my ex, Ariana Grande, licked some donuts at a shop and then said she hated America. She later burned the American flag while eating a live puppy. I kid, she apologized.
I apologize for my poor choice of words and for my behavior. Seeing how ugly it looks when you behave a certain way makes you want to never behave that way again.
Well, other than the Affleck-Garner divorce, it was the biggest news of the week. So to discuss it, it seemed fitting that I call in a really big guest. Yes, standing 6'7" tall and weighing at 360 pounds, please welcome TNA Impact Wrestling superstar and my squash partner, Tyrus.
Oh, my guy.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, goodness. I got you. I miss you.
Oh, thank you. Whoa.
Oh. This is a little bit scary. Oh, I got you.
I got a little vertigo.
I'm going to put you down.
Thank you. Thank you. How you doing?
I'm tremendous. Please sit.
Yeah,
sit.
please.
I'm sitting right there.
I'm such a big fan of you.
Fine. I'm a little fan of you.
Oh,
we did that.
That was very funny. Now, in order to do the show, you asked me, you said that we had to talk about Ariana Grande because
Right.
I didn't know you were a big fan.
Actually, I'm not a big fan, but I am a big fan of the apology.
Yes? You like the apology?
I'm a big fan of saying something and not knowing you're being recorded. And then when you get caught, you do like an apology.
Yes.
In her case, it was written for her by the publicist. We're going to send this. No, I got this. Let me handle it. And every time I've ever told a lie or got busted, I never know what to do with my hands either.
Yes.
And what you didn't see, like, I'm sorry. I'm human.
Yeah. But you had a great manicure.
Yeah, and I have stuff in my throat. I'm hurt. Because every time I'm hurt, I always point out that I'm hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
And, of course, now she can't sing, you know, because of the wisdom teeth.
Right.
Not the foot in the mouth syndrome, because that takes 6 to 8 weeks to get your foot out your mouth.
That is true. And who needs a wisdom tooth? Well, she actually does need a wisdom tooth, because she can use some wisdom.
But she had both out.
Yeah. It's a tragedy. Are we too harsh on her? She's 22. When somebody gets famous at 22, they're usually jerks because we make them into jerks, right?
Right, but the whole point of it is, like, you can be a jerk, but be a jerk.
Yeah.
I hate Americans. Yeah, I said it. What? I got a new song I'll call I Hate Americans. Boy, they'll buy it.
Yes.
But when you say, I hate Americans, and it doesn't even talk about the licking the donuts thing. Like, what's that about?
Yeah.
As a donut licker myself.
Yes.
You know, she was being sneaky. We've all been there. But she doesn't want to talk about that.
See, I thought donut liquor was a euphemism from Urban Dictionary.
It
probably is.
Yes.
You might have just invented that, which is very cool.
I don't know what the donut might mean. I want to move on to the next topic because I know that you feel strongly about this. On Friday, the Confederate flag was lowered from the grounds of the South Carolina State House, where it had been flown for more than 50 years. This after elected officials in both parties demanded the flag's removal following the Charleston massacre. So, Tyrus, there were a lot of people that were very happy about this. As a black man,
yes,
were you overjoyed?
Thrilled.
Yes.
It was over.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it. My whole life changed.
Did it?
Credit got better.
Yes.
Got 3 job interviews next week. I mean, the Confederate flag being gone. Lordy, it's so great.
Yes, it's changed.
I hadn't thought about the Confederate flag ever. And when dude, who I'm not going to give him any press, did what he did.
Yes.
The last thing he said, Confederate flag strikes again. It was the flag.
Yeah, it was the flag.
It had to be the flag.
Yes, yes.
I always see that flag hanging around the alleys, pulling guys like, hey, come here, let me holler at you. It's a flag.
It's a flag. What about, the Dukes of Hazzard? They pulled it off TV land.
Okay, first of all, if you're going to pull Dukes of Hazzard off TV land, pull it off for the fact that, like, Boss Hogg in every scene he is has grease on his face, is always eating food, never walks. So all the heavy kids are seeing that it's okay to be chubby and mean. Yes. Or like Roscoe had a speech impediment and an inappropriate relationship with a dog. Let's talk about that.
That's true. Those are the outrages.
Daisy never wore pants.
Yes.
That's the stuff that bothered me. But I commend remember as a kid never watching it going, damn. That was racist.
Yeah.
How those poor white trash guys ran from the white sheriffs all the time. And the smartest guy on the show was actually the black sheriff.
Yeah.
That was so racist, man. Let's get it out of there.
It's such a good point. I want to get to this last topic because I need to know your opinion. According to a recent study, nearly 2/3 of women either don't like or flat out hate the man bun haircut, like the one seen here on this dope. I see this everywhere. What do you stand on this issue?
Well, as a man who has a man beard.
Yes.
And I'm wearing a man chair. Why are we labeling stuff? It's stupid. The man bun is stupid. He's a man, his hair's in the bun. You don't have to say man bun. Whoever thought of that is a complete moron.
Yes.
Hate them. I wish nothing but bad things to happen to them.
Really?
Yes. And I stand by that statement 110%. Can I have that, please?
Yeah, sure.
You guys remember when I said that stuff about man buns?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know what you wrote. Oh, I articulated those words inappropriately. I actually love man buns. And actually last week I was just saying to my friends how I wish I had a man bun, but I don't because I have a mohawk.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It's just down because I had my hat on.
That's beautiful.
I can't grow a man bun.
You can't?
No, but please accept my apology.
All right, thank you, Tyrus. Stick around. We come back. Katherine Timpf corrects our mistakes. But first, it's Olympic hopefuls. It's only 2 years away, and tonight we're looking at water Frisbee. It's a new entry in the Olympics. Those out there happen to be good friends of mine. I met them on a Club Med vacation. They haven't quite got the hang of it yet, but give it time for these two fellas. They still have 2 years to get it right. Look at that. Amazing form. Incredible. Let's check our facts with our opinion editor, Katherine Timpf. So how do we do tonight, Katherine?
You said that Ariana Grande needs a wisdom tooth because she could use some more wisdom.
Yes.
Great joke. Great joke, Greg. I can't believe nobody laughed at that. It's so good.
Wait, you're supposed to critique the facts, not jokes that don't work.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying the fact is it just wasn't fair. That didn't get the reaction it deserved. Gavin, did you say white people deserve credit for ending slavery?
Yeah.
Ooh, boy.
We didn't start it, we ended it, and you're welcome.
Okay, yeah, think piece internet just exploded. They don't even know what to do right now. This is the day they've been waiting for their whole lives.
Sorry.
Sorry.
If you want to get mad at someone using slavery, take it up with Brazil. We barely had any.
Take it up with Brazil. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll write that down on my list. Take up with
At
Brazil.
4
If you have any
million.
contact info for Brazil, let me know. I have to say something about that blonde girl that was on the couch also earlier. Joanne, she stole your dress. Kennedy, she stole your glasses, and I bet she doesn't even need them to see, all right? Tyrus, I wouldn't be surprised if after the show she's going to go get a bunch of forearm and hand tattoos because, you know, some people just try way too hard to be cool.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Yeah. And also we talked about man buns forever, but nobody made a butt joke. So you guys really missed an opportunity there to...
So basically you're saying that my joke about wisdom teeth was bad, but we should have made a joke about butts?
Yep.
That's kind of a contradiction in my world.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm just trying to give your viewers what they want.
Really? That's what they want?
More butts.
More butts.
Yes.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's it. Back to you, Greg.
Didn't like my Trump monologue?
You know, it was all right. It was all right. You seem really into Donald Trump one way or another, but I'm a libertarian, so as you know, we all just end up voting for ourselves anyway.
That's true.
I'm not really paying too much attention.
Or just sleeping in because you were high the night before. All right. Thanks, Katherine. That was mildly entertaining. More stuff when we come back, but first, a word from our sponsor.
Tonight's show is sponsored by Matt Damon's Ponytail. Did you know that Matt Damon's Ponytail is fluent in over 6 languages and volunteers at soup kitchens on weekends? It's true. Thanks, Matt Damon's Ponytail.
Finally tonight, a helpful video. You see, the annual running of the bulls took place this week in Spain, which is somewhere near Tokyo. But because this is a family show, we realize sometimes it can be difficult to explain such a violent event to children. We thought we'd help out some concerned parents out there with some explanation. Behold our latest installment of News for Kids.
So, what is the running of the bulls and why does it happen? Well, throughout history, there have been many times when what began as a good idea turned out horribly. Like communism, or Miley Cyrus. This event began years ago when one man realized he could cut his commute in half if he were chased by a large animal. This genius idea soon led to the annual tradition of man versus nature. It takes place every year in a city called Pamplona, which in Spanish means gathering of idiots. The running begins when 6 beasts are released into a massive crowd, sending the streets into chaos. Chaos is something stupid people call a good time. But the fun inevitably comes to an end when the runners get trampled and gored by the bulls. To be gored can mean to be stabbed with a horn or get stuck at a party debating someone over climate change. And so, despite the risk of death, idiots return year after year. Nowadays, the purpose of running with the bulls is so you can brag to your friends at a bar that you did the running of the bulls. Historians say this tradition will continue as long as there are still people dumb enough to do it. In other words, forever. And that is News for Kids.
Well, I think we've learned a lot today.
That was a wake-up call.
It was a wake-up call for everyone and America. Wake up, America. Thanks to Tom Rogan, Gavin McInnes, Kennedy, Tyrus, Katherine, Joanne, and boo, the liberal panel. I'm Greg Gutfeld, and I love you, America. Yeah.
Show, Greg.